Boom. All right. We are also now live on YouTube Shorts. So, as always, with every stream, you can watch it the traditional way, you know, which you're already on now. Or if you want to watch it in the vertical format on your phone, if that's more comfortable for you, you could see that there as well. Both formats are available for everyone. What's going on, everybody? If I sound a little nasally, it's because my allergies are really killing me today, and I think it's what's killing me yesterday. That's why I wasn't able to stream yesterday. My energy just felt so like it was sucked out of me. Today I'm feeling a little bit better. It's the annoying seasonal allergies, and it bothers me. And as I get older, it gets worse and worse. But I'm here now. I'm ready to hang out with all of you guys. And we got some topics to talk about. So obviously, we got the weekend box office numbers. Bad Boys surprising everybody. We'll take a look into that and we'll investigate a little bit about that. And for the rest of the stream after that, we'll be talking about a lot of Marvel movie news. Last week, there was a lot of Marvel stuff that dropped. Some interesting things to speculate. And I thought it would be fun, since one of the speculations is that the next Avengers movie, Avengers 5, whatever they call it, I don't think they're going to be calling it Kang Dynasty anymore. I think they're going to call it something else. What they're speculating and what they're suggesting is that Avengers 5 is going to feature over 60 different MCU characters. Shut up, phone. No one wants to hear you right now. Sorry. I always forget to mute that. So I thought it would be cool if we, sat here and we fan casted Avengers 5. Which characters should be in the next Avengers movie? We'll try to account for any new characters that may be popping up. For example, Fantastic Four. That should be out before Avengers 5. Maybe some X-Men, maybe, depending on what we see with Deadpool and Wolverine. So we'll have some fun with that this morning, or this afternoon, or this evening, again, depending on where you're watching from. So how was everyone's weekend? Let me know in the chat how everyone's weekend was. We'll chill out before we start diving into the main hot topics and all that. But I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I was able to catch up with friends. I was streaming on Sunday, wasn't I? Yeah, I streamed on Sunday. So we did the whole Xbox stream, which was fantastic. And let me just get this out of the way now. As I was resting and recuperating, and again, I do this every day. Not every day. Yeah, I do this every day. When I'm in the bathroom and I'm looking in the mirror, I was like, hey, why don't you hit that like button and if you like what you see. All right. Take it easy. Wasn't that funny? If you're watching here on the short stream or on the regular live stream, do me a quick favor and just hit that like button. It'll make this guy extremely happy, and you'll get good karma. So there's that. I just want to get this out of the way. Yesterday, Ubisoft, the lovely French video game company, had their Ubisoft Forward event. And of course, I was riding high off of what we saw from Microsoft and Xbox during their presentation on Sunday. That thing that they did yesterday took the wind and excitement all out of me. It was probably one of the worst presentations I've seen in a while. Let's just say everything that you saw or that you felt at the Ubisoft Forward event yesterday is what is wrong with the current industry of video games right now. They are so behind. They are very old school. They are managed by people who are so out of touch with today's generation, with what's going on in the video game industry right now. And it felt very much like you have a bunch of people trying to utilize data and buzzwords and keywords to placate to the younger generation because they feel like this is what will speak well to them. It was very cringe most of the time. They still feel like they're at E3 doing live performances on stage for what? A presentation? No one gives a shit about that. It was done in front of an audience who's probably 80-90% Ubisoft employees. It is just so bad. And what they showed outside of maybe Star Wars Outlaws, I don't know. It's just very questionable. I was once excited for Assassin's Creed, the new one, Shadows, when we saw it on Sunday during the Microsoft presentation. After seeing what they showed, I don't know anymore. It feels a little bit more of the same, and the voice acting is terrible, and everything else that Ubisoft had lined up was just bad. Plus, they still ignore the things that everyone is waiting for. Where is Beyond Good and Evil 2? We've never heard anything about that. What's going on with the Tom Clancy franchise and Splinter Cell? I think everyone's waiting for new iterations of that franchise. It boggles my mind. You know, Hitman. Is there anything going on with Hitman right now? Instead, they're throwing it. It feels like they're caught up with stuff that they were planning so hard on and working so hard on, and then realizing, oh shoot, the industry is changing, but we already spent so much money on this stuff. Oh well, c'est la vie. Let's push this stuff out anyway, right? And let's try to pretend to be happy about it. It was just so bad. It really knocked the wind out of my sails after my excitement for everything that Microsoft did on Sunday. So yeah, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch a recap of the Ubisoft Forward presentation yesterday. It was just so abysmal. Sucks saying the weekend was all right. Kevin Davis, what's going on, Kevin Davis? Disney going to play it safe with their films in order to make a profit. They aren't going to want to offend anybody, or want to have another proxy battle. What are you referring to, Kevin? I'm just curious as to what exactly. Their films in general, MCU. I'm just curious, Kevin, what you're referring to. Sucks saying, I didn't know that you can like live streams. Yeah. It's just like any video on YouTube. You could like it, you could dislike it, all that stuff. I think in general, most people just forget that those functionalities are there because they're so just caught up in watching the video or whatever. And they forget that little things like that you can do, and little things like that could actually help a channel, and it's the easiest way to show any support for anybody on YouTube. What is a proxy battle? So it's like when companies fight over certain properties. So like, for example, in Disney's case, it would be, the Marvel franchise, the Lucasfilm franchise with Star Wars, Doctor Who, whatever they have under their belts, Jim Henson, things like that. Yeah, because even though they may like own or partner with a certain license, they're still ahead of that license that they work with. So yeah, in business, sometimes if one side doesn't agree with the other, then it becomes this big kind of internal infighting and all that stuff like that. So, but I would love if Kevin could elaborate a little bit more on his comment. I also love Kevin because he's been commenting on my stuff for a while now, and I love how he just shows up, drops a little bit of knowledge or a little bit of info, and then we never hear from him again. It's like the coolest thing. That's why I wonder if there's a part of me that wonders if Kevin is a bot. I think Kevin is AI. Kevin is Skynet. This is exactly what happens when you have AI take over technology. And yeah, this is the future, everybody. This is what's going to happen. That's exactly what's going to happen. big war, big battle, and then the end of days are upon us. All right. Let's get into our first topic, and that is the weekend box office. It's time for the weekend box office numbers. Bad Boys Ride or Die came out on top. Will Smith slapped the shit out of the box office this past weekend, if you didn't know. And Bad Boys Ride or Die came up on top, to many people's surprise. And we'll talk about and explain why that is here. So let me go ahead and open this up. Ooh, that looks weird. Sorry, let me just adjust some things here on the vertical stream so that it looks a little bit more clear. And if you're watching on the vertical stream, don't hesitate to let me know if something looks off, or if you can't really see anything, or most importantly, if you can't hear anything. I know sometimes there's audio issues that pops up from time to time, so I just want to make sure that everything is cool in the gang. You know what I'm saying? Cool in the gang.
Wow. Wow.
All right. So Bad Boys Ride or Die, the latest movie in the Bad Boys franchise. And I'm hoping, even though I enjoyed this movie, I'm hoping that they take a break. I don't necessarily feel like they need to make another one. But Bad Boys Ride or Die came out on top with number one with $56.5 million domestically. The big number that everybody was looking at was the worldwide numbers, because at worldwide, as of today, so this is not just a weekend now, $111.3 million. Coming towards this weekend, or this past weekend, I should say, the speculation and the expectation was that Bad Boys Ride or Die was going to do 75 million worldwide. Domestically, they were aiming for 35 to 40 million, which is kind of what I was expecting. I was kind of predicting that it would do something like around that. I was even going to say maybe 50 to 55 at one point. But for it to do 56, I think that is in today's landscape of movie theaters and people going to movies, this is a major win, I think, right now. It should not be like, oh, Bad Boys Ride or Die is going to save the summer box office. No, far from that. This is just something that, okay, there is still some hints of life of audiences who want to go watch movies like this on the big screen. And I think movies like this should be watched on the big screen because it's such a spectacle, and the action scenes and everything like that really work well for movies, action movies like this. And it's a beloved franchise. A lot of people really enjoy the Martin Lawrence and Will Smith teaming up together. And I think a result like this, I won't be surprised if this is going to be dubbed as the comeback of Will Smith, even though I do feel like Martin Lawrence carried the bulk of the load in this movie. Will Smith still did a very good job, and this could be the potential for Will Smith to, in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to start seeing him pop up once again in a ton of movies, action movies, whatever. I know this was like a good litmus test for that. I think whatever happens with the upcoming I Am Legend 2 with Michael B. Jordan, I think, and this is a conversation I had with my friends over the weekend on Saturday, that this and that will let us know where we're going to be seeing Will Smith in future movies and in Hollywood like that, because this could be a good start and a good way to kind of reintroduce Will Smith into the zeitgeist of Hollywood once again, and slowly build his way up to the levels that he was pretty much at before the infamous slap heard across the Hollywood industry. So yeah, Bad Boys Ride or Die there. But also, another thing I wanted to point out, I'm going to switch cameras real quick. I'm going to have this window open up because I'm going to do some research on the Bad Boys franchise here. Just to show you and do a little comparison of box office revenue and how different things were compared to now. What's going on, Bueno? how do you think the new upcoming Superman movie will turn out? Here's what I'll say about Superman. We don't know much yet, right? We just know, we always just hear the casting news. By the way, thank you for your comment. Appreciate you hanging out here. We only know the casting news. We saw that one image of the new Superman, the actor in the suit and all that. And I know that was kind of mixed feelings about all of that. James Gunn, in my opinion, has not done anything bad ever since he came out with Guardians of the Galaxy. I think he surprised a lot of us with that, and he continued to work on that trilogy of movies, and each one, in my opinion, became better and better. When he had that brief fallout with Disney and he went to do DC real quick to do Suicide Squad, that movie was very enjoyable too. And Peacemaker is a fantastic show on Max if you haven't seen it yet. So then, of course, he came back, did Guardians 3. Everything that James Gunn has done, I think he earned my trust in him in a filmmaker. So I think the new Superman movie is going to be a very interesting one. It's going to be a little different than I think what we're used to. I don't think it's going to be as dark as the Zack Snyder one, but it's going to be definitely interesting. I will tell you this, Warner Brothers are hoping and they are betting on it to be good, because if Superman's not good, that doesn't bode well for the rest of the DC plan that they had, because the movie that's supposed to come out after that is Supergirl. So if you're building off of this franchise with two supers and the first one doesn't do well, no one's going to give a crap about Supergirl, and then the whole thing is going to go to hell. But I think that it will be very interesting. I have a lot of faith and trust in James Gunn because of everything that he's done so far. It's so crazy that you have all that info, or maybe it's just because you're American. What do you mean? Are you talking about like all the things I just talked about? I just follow the news every day, and since I'm passionate about this stuff, it stays in here. It's my head is filled with useless information that if it probably will be great for like a trivia night. If you need like movie trivia and all that, I can pull out stuff, especially stuff from the 80s. I'm very good at that. But outside of that, I don't know what else is in here. But yeah, I'm always up on the news every day. I'm always keeping tabs on things. And things like numbers, box office numbers, the site that I use is thenumbers.com. I've been using these guys for at least 6 or 7 years. And, it's my go-to for these kind of box office numbers and all. So yeah. So that's how I maintain a lot of the information in my head. In Germany, we don't get that stuff in the news. Well, I mean, I could see that. I guess thank the internet, because I don't use Twitter often, but I do get notifications on Twitter every time a new entertainment bit of news pops up. Bueno, if you're still here, I'm sorry, I didn't ask. How do you think the new Superman movie will turn out? Are you excited for it? I'm just curious. So the most of the time, whenever I learn about news in this industry, it's because I get notifications every time something new drops like that. And I look at it, I'll save it, I'll read it later like that. I don't watch traditional news like TV news or cable news, because honestly, whatever's happening in the world right now is too depressing. And I learned a long time ago not to pay too much attention to real life news. I'll read about it, I'll read headlines every now and then, but I can't watch it like in the traditional sense, because everything is bad news, everything's sad, everything's depressing, everything is infuriating, and I get angry about it, and it puts me in a bad mood. So I don't want to be in a bad mood, so I just don't watch the news. That's just me. Not everyone's like that, but that's just how I handle myself. So you didn't even know there. Yeah. Well, again, if you're not in the world like I am, I guarantee you there's a lot of people who don't know that there's a new Superman movie coming out. So I'm not surprised by that at all. What's going on, Star-Lord? Star-Lord is in the hizzy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend, and hope your week is treating you well so far. All right, so let's quickly do some comparisons here. So, hold on. Let me just make sure I have all the information that I need. All right. All right. Switch cameras real quick. So, Bad Boys Ride or Die, just to recap real quick. Opening number 56.5 million domestically. The original Bad Boys movie, when it came out, opened up to 15.5 million. Also, you have to keep in mind that this is back in 1995. Opening weekends weren't as crazy, especially if you are like a non-major property movie. But around this time, we weren't seeing extravagant numbers like we were seeing maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago, right? Bad Boys 2 opening weekend, 46.5 million. This is when things started going a little crazy, right? This is when we are starting to seeing the movie theater experience, the blockbuster experiencing really expanding. You could see here it beat out Pirates of the Caribbean, which is another franchise big blockbuster movie event that came out that also pulls in major numbers. So you have 46.5 million. So Bad Boys itself was never like a major draw for the box office for movies, but you could see with each iteration it keeps growing and growing. Bad Boys for Life, the third movie in the franchise, opened up to 62.5 million. And this is an interesting number in itself because Bad Boys for Life came out in 2020, several months, couple of months right before, right before the whole world went under lockdown, right? So it was like one of the last really big major blockbuster movies to see success in this whole landscape. And of course, with the pandemic and everything, it changed people's attitudes and ways they look at going to movies. They prefer watching movies at home now, and we've been seeing dwindling numbers at the box office ever since everything started opening up and trying to catch up and all that. So for Bad Boys Ride or Die to have 56.5 million is not bad, but if this was, let's say, 2019, if this was still around that time, when you had a previous movie opening up to 60 million, you would expect the sequel to that to open up to 80 million, right? At least. So 56.5 is far from that, but like I said, in this current landscape that we're in now, it's a win. But when you compare it to how things were in the past, it's not something that everyone should be like rooting and hollering for and all that. We're still nowhere near how box office numbers used to be back in the day. Let's see. It's Starler. I'm sorry to hear that it's been hectic with family. I hope you're hanging in there. Hope at the very least, hanging out here will keep your mind off of some things. Star-Lord, hope you don't mind. Oh, we have a little conversation back and forth. The year of awesome movies. Which year is that? This year? Star-Lord, you were born in 84. You were born during, I think, one of my favorite years of movies in the 80s. 84 is such a major year for me. A lot of my favorites came out in 84. So I always have fond memories of 1984. So yeah. So, and one last thing to look at here when it comes to the previous Bad Boys movies is the first Bad Boys movie overall, when it was all said and done at the box office worldwide, made $141.2 million. Okay. Again, this is 1995. Bad Boys 2 in 2003 overall made $273.2 million at the box office. Bad Boys for Life, which is the third one, made 424.4 million, almost $500 million there. Not bad for a movie like this. So right now, Bad Boys Ride or Die is sitting at 111.3 million. I think this movie has a potential worldwide to come close to like around 300 million, maybe 400 million. I don't think it's going to be as huge as Bad Boys for Life, but like I said, in this landscape that we're in right now, that's not bad, I guess. So it is what it is, but good on Bad Boys and Sony for their accomplishment here. So yeah, 84 to 89. Yeah, a lot of great years for movies during that time. Really a lot of fun memories. I don't remember a lot back then. Well, you were still very young, you know. I was born in 78, so I still have very good memories of the 80s. Coming in at number 2 is Garfield. So they were, it was dethroned by Bad Boys, coming in second with 10 million. 68.6 million overall. Let's look at the worldwide numbers here real quick. 193.8. I guess that's not terrible for a property that I feel is already dated in a way. Plus, it doesn't really exist outside of this current movie. There's no TV series. There's no ongoing cartoon. No real presence. Newspapers are basically dead. So no one is, checking out the Sunday papers to see the latest Garfield comic strip. So I guess not bad for an old property. The movie If, that's that Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski movie from Paramount, is in third place with 7.8 million, 93.3 million overall. The Watchers, the other brand new movie that came out over the weekend. This is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter and her first in her directorial debut, only pulling in $7 million. I feel like a lot of people were not aware that this movie was coming out. Plus, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people heard exactly how bad it was. I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning to actually watch it this week. But there has been a lot of word of mouth that this movie is not that great. So I'm pretty sure that led to a weaker box office there. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is in fifth place with 5.4 million, 149.7 domestically overall, and 359.7 million worldwide right there. So you got that going on for it. Furiosa continues to just constantly take nosedives week after week. It was in second place last week, fell now to 6th with only 4.2 million, 58.6 million, and worldwide 145.1 million. I think this is unfortunately the nail in the coffin, for the Mad Max franchise, which is unfortunate because it's still a really good movie. It deserves to have been seen. It's just for whatever reason, people just were not interested in going out in theaters to watch this. It has nothing to do with Anya Taylor-Joy being the lead actress. I don't think it has anything to do with Chris Hemsworth or anything like that. The Mad Max franchise in itself is not like a big franchise. I think Fury Road surprised a lot of people. That's why it did really well in the theaters. But I guess people just didn't care for any kind of follow-up, really, to be honest. And the fact that I think there was no real Mad Max in this movie, then that probably hurt overall. But I guarantee you, though, the minute it hits streaming, that's when it'll blow up, for sure. Fall Guy, 7th with 2.5 million, 85 million overall. And this is an interesting thing. So this past weekend, New Line Cinema released back in theaters the Lord of the Rings trilogy. They released each movie on separate days. So the first one was on a Friday, second one was on a Saturday, third one was on a Sunday. The fact that these re-releases made it to the top 10 is amazing to me. So you have The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, coming in 8th place with 2.4 million. So that adds to its overall total domestically to 318 million. And then you have The Two Towers coming in 9th place with 1.9 million, adding to its overall total of 344 million. And then to round out the top 10, you have The Strangers Chapter 1 at Lionsgate with $1.7 million. Overall domestic, $32.1 million. Blah, 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 blah. So there you go. Sorry to interrupt, and I hope you also don't mind ask, but how old are you? I am, well, I don't know. You want to take a hint? You want to take a guess? I mean, I basically said when I was born. I said I was born in 78, so I guess you could kind of figure it out by now, but I am 46. 46 years old, believe it or not. I was born the year of Mad Max. That is very true. Do they still have any old movies? How old are you talking about? You know what's crazy? In Germany, many Nazis like Mad Max. Actually, that's not crazy to me. I feel like that makes kind of a little sense to me, I think, if you ask me. How far did the charts go? Let's see. So the last movie on this chart is a movie from Kino Lorber called Remembering Gene Wilder, which made $141 at the weekend box office. But it's only showing at 4 theaters in the United States. Let's see. Something that accounts to numbering. I guess they just gave up on numbering after 15 because everything else after that is, kind of inconsequential. For example, I saw the TV Glow from A24, $261,000 over the weekend, only playing at 227 theaters. You have that. Tarot also doing around the same amount of numbers there. Ghostbusters are still in several theaters across the country, 75 theaters, so that still pulls in a little bit of money here. Civil War is still out in theaters. Late Night with the Devil is still at a good amount of theaters across the country. So yeah, so you have a lot of stuff here that is still tracking. As long as it has a presence in a theater in the United States, it's making money. It's like saying I would have guessed 40. Okay, that's fair. I love that I look a little bit younger than 46, so I'm happy to hear that. Anything younger is always better in my book. So yeah, so that is the recap. Star-Lord, was there anything that you're looking specifically for? Let me know in the chat if there was anything particularly that you wanted to see in the charts. But that's the weekend box office right there. They must have old records of past. They do. Yeah, this is the site I use to look back in time for previous numbers. That's how I was able to look at the first Bad Boys numbers, Bad Boys 2, things like that. As far as how far back it goes, let's see. I wonder if there's a way I could see that. Let's see. Annual ticket sales. So it looks like their database goes only back to 1995 here, which is not bad, honestly. However, I know in the past I was able to pull up numbers from the 80s. For example, Ghostbusters. Let's look up the original Ghostbusters, okay? And let's see what kind of numbers we see here. Here we go. Ghostbusters, 1984. Yeah, so it does have the numbers here. So I'll share my screen real quick. So yeah, the original Ghostbusters movie, domestically during its theatrical run, and I'm sure this counts for any re-release, anniversary release, and all that, $242.6 million. Internationally, it made 52.9 with a worldwide total of 295.5. So every time they re-release movies, so let's say, celebrating its 30th anniversary, come see Ghostbusters back on the big screen, blah, 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 this and that. Those totals, whatever it makes, will add to the overall totals here. They don't separate them. And it says here on opening weekend, it made $13.6 million, where if you think about it, In 1984, that's actually pretty huge. That's big. So, yeah. If it went back to the early 1900s, they made 5 cents in a bottle of whiskey and a Band-Aid.
Wow.
What's up, Ados? What's your favorite, Quicksilver or the Flash? Honestly, if we are basing off of the characters from let's just say comic books, then personally the Flash is my favorite. I really love Barry Allen. I love his character. I love his story arc. I really love the adventures he went through and all that. Even though Quicksilver is a very interesting character, a little bit depressing, being the son of Magneto and having to live up to that moniker and everything that he went through in the comic books. Kind of a sad story. Interesting and intriguing, but my favorite was always the Flash, if we're talking comic books. If we're talking about like TV and movies included, it's still the Flash. Quicksilver in the movies, we got him for like what? At most 30 minutes before he got killed, which is unfortunate because, man, if only we got more of that portrayal of Quicksilver in the movies, I think it would have been awesome to see. Because it seemed like he would have been a very interesting character, but we just didn't get enough of it. And then, of course, you had the Quicksilver in the X-Men franchise, the Fox franchise, who was hilarious. That dude was funny. And I loved how he always did the slow motion and he changed things around and this and that. But then in the third movie, it got kind of overplayed. It got to the point where you were just expecting it to happen. Like, all right, when are we going to get the big Quicksilver moment? So it was kind of like, meh, all right. But on the TV show, The Flash, that character was very well written and I really enjoyed it. What about you, Ados? Who's your favorite? Flash's whole life is depressing. It is. It is. It's depressing, but at the same time, you have to give it up to Barry for having a very positive attitude, right? And dealing with things as they come. You know, Flash for president. Quick reminder, guys, if you're watching on the live streams, hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. But yeah, so I can pull up older numbers here and all that. Also, one of my favorite movies that's also celebrating an anniversary this year, Gremlins, which, by the way, Gremlins, and I've said this and I've shared this on stream before, Gremlins is the only movie that I've seen in the theater the most, and that I've seen it 8 times in the theater when it came out. As a kid, for some reason, I loved it, and I had to watch it all the time. So my mom and my babysitter took me to see it 8 times in the movie theater. But yeah, Gremlins in 1984, you could see it made 151.6 million domestically. Didn't do anything internationally. So 152.4 million. It opened up to 12.5 million at the box office when it first came out. And again, numbers include accumulative stuff. So re-releases, anniversaries, all that stuff. Peter Parker syndrome. Yeah, you're right. The Flash does kind of have the same similarities like Peter Parker in keeping his secret, making sure that the loved ones don't get touched or hurt because of who he is and all. And the feel and need to save everybody. That's a huge burden the Flash had to experience and go through. So many anniversaries. I know. This is a big year for anniversaries for movies from the 80s. So it's awesome. It's awesome to see. So there you go. So yeah. So I highly recommend, if ever you're just curious to check out numbers, box office numbers, and all that, thenumbers.com, in my opinion, is much better than Box Office Mojo, because whatever they did on that site, they changed it. I don't know if it's when they were acquired by IMDb, but that site sucks now. You can't, it's so hard to pull up reports. It's hard to look up numbers. And sometimes there's stuff missing. So that's why I always default to the numbers.com for all my information there. So that takes care of the box office there. Let us hop into some of the big Marvel related movie news that's come out recently. Ados is from Brazil. My favorite is also Flash. Oh, cool. Well, there you go. Also, love to have you viewing from Brazil. Awesome, awesome to see you here. It's amazing, and I say this all the time. It's amazing how many people either watch my videos or my streams from Brazil. So I'm very thankful for that. Suck, you should do a live talk show or a day in the week where you do live discussions. Are you saying I should have discussions with viewers or invite guests on? Because if it's like guests, I'm hoping that I can work on that for later this year. I'm in the middle of a lot of moving and changes behind the scenes and in my personal life, so I can't commit to anything big right now. But I'm hoping that after the summer, I can do more stuff like that. So, but I appreciate that with viewers or friends. Yeah, I'm hoping to get some of my friends on more because we all live similar lives and we have similar industry experiences. So I always thought having conversations about our moments in certain industries would be an interesting conversation. So yeah, hopefully I can do that later on in the future. But I love that you're interested in seeing that. So thank you. Thank you for that. All right, let's dig into some of the recent news, the Marvel news. And one of the biggest news that dropped last week, and I don't know if anyone was aware of it or not, but apparently Jordan Peele met with Marvel. And the idea was, or the speculation, or the rumor was, that he met with Marvel about their X-Men movie that they're working on. So, what's going on, Clone Wars for Life? How are you doing? I am assuming you're a big Star Wars fan, right? I am too. So, thank you for chiming in. Hope you're doing well. So, here's the article from Dark Horizons. Clone Wars for Life has a question before I dive into this. Who's better in my opinion, Wolverine or Deadpool? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm not sick, but I'm suffering from allergies a bit, so it's a little annoying. But other than that, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. A lot of people ask me, return that question. So who's better, Wolverine or Deadpool? Okay, I'm gonna pose that question to the audience first. So chime in the chat who you think is better, Wolverine or Deadpool. In my opinion, it's a hard question to ask because better in what sense? Personality, powers, because if it's personality, I would say Deadpool is better than Wolverine. If it's powers, they have very similar powers because they're both from the same experiment, right? They're both from the same mutant experience. The only difference is that Deadpool cannot have claws and prefers to fight with guns and swords, while you have Wolverine that basically doesn't need any weapon. He himself is a weapon, right? So I think when it comes to powers or the way they handle battles and fights, I think they're very similar. But if you were to ask me as far as longevity is concerned, obviously Wolverine is the best of the two. My own personal thing, growing up, I've always been a major Wolverine fan. I need to find this picture I took. I think I was 12 years old, and I was at a mall, and there was a comic book store in the mall, and randomly they were having a photo op with Wolverine. Basically, they got a guy dressed up as Wolverine. And I have a Polaroid picture of me posing next to this guy as a Wolverine in a Wolverine costume. And this is like early 1990s, right? So it looks like just some guy who was like a big bodybuilder. They put him in some sort of Wolverine outfit, and he was doing them a favor. But the guy looked actually pretty decent. and I was actually pretty happy to take a picture with him. At the time, I even had a Wolverine T-shirt, so it was very very. It was as if the cosmos was like in alignment for me for that day. Sorry to hear you're suffering from allergies too, there, Clone Wars for Life. Yeah, it sucks. Allergy seasons are the worst. But tell me, who's your favorite, Wolverine or Deadpool? Starler said, "I trust Jordan can make a good X-Men movie." Isn't he like this? No, Jordan Peele is a director. He is the guy who directed movies Nope, Us, Get Out. So he also helped produce the Twilight Zone series that came out on Apple TV. So and prior to that, he had a comedy show with his friend Michael Keegan. Is that his name? And it was like a comedy sketch show. Yeah. So Clone Wars for Life is a big fan of Wolverine too. There you go. I think that his question maybe means about his regeneration. As far as who's better, like who can regenerate better, I still think Wolverine is better at it. You know, I mean, I always remember, I hearken back to the comic book, Old Man Logan, where they went way into the future, and they kind of based that movie Logan off of, and how Wolverine was one of the last remaining survivors of everything, very much like a cockroach. And I also love that the Hulk is also around too, because that also makes sense. But I don't believe we saw Deadpool anywhere. So yeah. So I can just imagine him making a serious X-Men in terms of suspense. Oh, for sure, absolutely. But unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, and I'll explain when we read the article here. So, Jordan Peele's Marvel offer was X-Men. The other day came a report from the Insider that Get Out and Nope filmmaker Jordan Peele had met with Marvel Studios for an upcoming project. Which project wasn't clear, with speculation rife that it was over their troubled Blade production or a Midnight Suns movie. Now, One Take News has a follow-up report offering some more details. According to their sources, Peele did indeed meet with Marvel Studios to discuss an upcoming movie, specifically their X-Men film in the works. They say it's important to note that the meeting actually took place a long time ago and it didn't work out. That said, it doesn't mean Peele and Marvel don't want to work together on something else. They add that Peele would likely want to write the script on top of directing the project he was handling. Something he wouldn't get with X-Men, as Marvel spent months and only recently secured their scribe, Michael Leslie, to pen it. That would also likely rule out Blade, which has already gone through multiple writers and years of delays related to a script that finally seems to be in a workable state story-wise. So yeah, so I agree. I think Jordan Peele would have been pretty awesome in directing and writing an X-Men movie. But at the same time, I'm kind of happy that he's not, because I think there would have been a little bit too much studio control, and that's not how Jordan Peele works. Jordan Peele likes to kind of create the sandbox for himself and kind of, do things on his own, in his own way. And I feel like here, he'll be given a lot of instruction and direction from Kevin Feige, right? There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to keep the universe in a certain way and keep it on track for what you're trying to tell in the overall big picture, you need someone like a Kevin Feige to handle that. And I think the reason why Marvel movies have sucked recently is because Kevin Feige has been doing less of that. And I think now he's coming back and he's taking in on the reins a little bit more. So would I love to see Jordan Peele in the Marvel universe doing something? Absolutely. But I don't think him as a director, the way he handles himself, will work well in the whole Disney Marvel archetype and architecture. So, did you read World Breaker Hulk comic? Which one is that one? And when did that come out? Because I stopped reading comic books in general. Oof. This is going back a while now. I think the last Hulk I read was World War Hulk. I think that wasn't that the one where they introduced the Red Hulk and we have his son. This was when he was on Scar, right? Which was a great run. I really love that run. But I don't recall or remember World Breaker Hulk. Maybe you could fill me in on what that is about. Would love to hear about it. So yeah, so Jordan Peele's out. The big question is, who could be a good fit to direct X-Men? They need someone who is great working with an ensemble cast, but at the same time can take direction, right? Can take direction from Disney, from Kevin Feige, and work within kind of the sandbox that Kevin Feige have created and play nicely with that structure. Like, who could be a good director for that? I would have said at one point, I would have said Rian Johnson, because I love what he's doing with the Knives Out franchise. And yes, I know he has a bad name because of what happened with his Star Wars movie. I would say ignore that, because he's definitely done well with Knives Out. Clone Wars Rise, do you watch football or any other sports? Yeah, so I'm a huge basketball fan. So basketball is one of my favorite sports. On occasion, I will watch baseball and football, sometimes hockey, soccer. I'm a big European football fan. So Tottenham Hotspurs are my team. I love them. I like watching sports, but I don't always follow sports religiously. The only thing I do follow like a lot is basketball and the New York Knicks, because I am in New York. I'm born and raised here. Is always my go-to team. What about you there, Clone Wars for life? Football team, I grew up loving the Giants. So the Giants are my team. But I don't know anything about the Giants today. Like, I don't really follow it that often. Star-Lord, why does it have to be a universe and not just a movie? Quality, not quantity. I'm not saying it has to be one way or the other. They could do one-off movies, but that's not their plan, right? Marvel and Disney, they do stuff for franchises, for universes, for overall things, right? So that's also another reason why Jordan Peele would not fit in that system. Yeah. Clone Wars for life, mostly just football. I'm a Dolphins fan. Oh, cool. All right. I'm assuming you currently live in Kentucky. Did you at one point live in Florida? Is that why you're a fan, or you just happen to be a fan of the Dolphins? But I agree with you, Star-Lord. Why not just focus on just one movie and leave it at that? That's why I like his movies when he does it on his own. Nope was a fantastic movie, and it doesn't have to be part of any universe or any franchise or anything like that. Us is another example. Get Out is a great example. So I think Jordan Peele is better built just to not be stuck to a franchise. Nope, born and raised in Kentucky. Okay, that's cool. Suck is going to go offline. Suck, have a wonderful day. I'll be back here tomorrow to talk about the latest episode of Star Wars Acolyte. And if you want to have our discussion about Darth Maul, I finally watched the video yesterday. So swing on by tomorrow and let's have that discussion, because it's a Star Wars related stream. So it'll be a great time to have that. But enjoy your evening. It doesn't even have to be one and done. Just start with one movie. Well, yeah, I think that's how everyone should approach movies in general. Instead of thinking of franchise, trilogies, universes, make the movie as best as you can. And then if it calls for it, or if there's a need for it, then think of what's going to happen afterwards. That's the approach that Leslie Headland, the showrunner for Acolyte, that's the approach she took on the Acolyte. Which I kind of give her credit for. She said she doesn't know at the time that if there were going to be a second season or whatever. So she made the first season very self-containing. You know, once you're done with the season, you'll be satisfied. If they continue, there's a lot of elements that they can work off of that was in the first season. So I like that approach. So yeah, I'm in agreement with you too. But we already know that Disney and Marvel, they're a money making machine, right? So they have to think in ways of what's going to make them money constantly. And they, I guess in their minds, they need it with the Marvel universe and all that. Clone Wars for Life, what's your opinion on the 2009 animated Clone Wars TV show? I just want to make sure, because anytime someone says Clone Wars TV show, I have to differentiate between the two. Because you had the Genndy Tartakovsky version, right? Which was the quick 10 to 15 minute episodes. And then you had the full length Dave Filoni created seasons, right? So I loved the Genndy version. I thought that was really well done. And the Clone Wars itself, at first I didn't like. But as the seasons kept growing and continuing, I learned to really appreciate it. And I love the storylines that they did. I love the introduction of some characters that they had there. And my feelings of Ahsoka have changed drastically. Even before the series came out, the live action series came out, my feeling on her changed drastically once, once we got Rebels. And she started showing up in Rebels. So the Clone Wars and the last season they came out with not that long ago was fantastic. That was like the perfect way to finally close out that whole series, in my opinion. So that was amazing. But to be honest, the Clone Wars itself, I didn't watch all the way through. I would refer to it from time to time. The only animated shows I watched all the way through were Rebels. I did watch the full last season of Clone Wars that they came out with. So I kind of have a gist of what happens, but I thought it was pretty well done for the most part. I've always planned to go back and rewatch it, especially rewatch it in chronological order. I have the list from the internet that kind of points it out, like watch this episodes or these episodes first and go into this and this and that. It's very messy. So I hope to do that sometime in the future. It's worth it. Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And like I said, my appreciation for that series has grown in time. I also think it came out during a time when I wasn't that big into watching cartoons anymore. So my interest level was it was very different because of that. But like I said, I've given it another shot from here, like episodic wise here and there, and I really, really appreciated what I saw. So, and I think they did a really great job with the animation. It kept getting better every season. So I imagine you're a major fan of it too, right? Which is better for you? Filoni's Clone Wars, Genndy's Clone Wars, and then separately, Clone Wars versus Rebels versus Bad Batch. I don't know. Those are the only Star Wars animated shows that I know. So in general, the quality of movies plummeted. Absolutely. No, you're right. Well, I would say this. The quality of big budget blockbuster movies plummeted. A lot of the independent movies are really still very good and very well done. And the lower budgeted movies are still very well done and very good. The quality is still there. But it's definitely the big budgeted Hollywood blockbuster type of films. Those are the ones that have really tanked big time. I'm going to have to take Dave's overall. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I guess for me, since I was a big fan of like Dexter's Lab and the Cartoon Network stuff, the Genndy run really, I love that art style. I love the concept of like really quick episodes, So yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean, Filoni did a fantastic job with all of the animated stuff. He really did. There's a reason why he's, the head of creative now over there at Lucasfilm. He earned it. He earned it for sure. So yeah, so I don't know. I'm trying to think of like directors today that could direct the X-Men movie. And like I said, the prerequisites, in my opinion, have to be who's good at ensemble cast, who's good at telling multiple storylines with multiple plot points, who's good at mixing in action with drama and character building. You know, it's a huge task for any director, honestly. So it'll be really curious to see who they're going to end up, you know, attaching and hiring for this movie. Have you ever seen the Brazilian movie Elite Squad? I have not. What is that movie about, Ados? I hope I'm saying your name right too. I apologize if I'm not. Star-Lord, do you think it's because we're living in cynical times compared to 30 plus years ago? Maybe. I don't know. I think cynical really affects more like comedic movies, rom-com movies. Like there was a time, and I'm sure you remember this, that comedies and rom-coms would rule the box office. You look at like late 90s, 2000s, those movies always did so well. Not anymore. So I feel like that's definitely because of the society today, how cynical we are, how very, I guess, precious we are with being offended on certain topics, you know? So I do feel like that mentality has definitely suffered and hurt movies like that. Most everything is post-apocalyptic. I think also a lot of that is because of the pandemic. We're starting to see a lot of results from people just being in their homes for a long period of time, not knowing what's going to happen around the world. So I feel like a lot of stuff we're getting now is a huge result of that. You know, Clone Wars. So with the Acolyte and introducing the yellow lightsaber and being the only live action character besides Rey to have one, how do you feel about it? I like it. I was used to only seeing the temple guards with yellow sabers. No, I like it. Last week when I did my recap and review of the first 2 episodes of Acolyte, I said that was one of the things I found refreshing. It was nice that, you know, it was cool to see Rey with something different, but it's nice to see now that we have various different versions of the lightsaber colors, you know, outside of the video games and, you know, the Sam Jackson thing. You know, that was only because he wanted it to be purple. That was never in the plans. So I don't mind it at all. You know, it would be nice if, and I don't know if they're going to do this in the Acolyte, but maybe they will, if they kind of just show the hunting down and the actual mining of kyber crystals in like a live action format to kind of see what that process is like. Because I think that would be kind of interesting to kind of highlight, you know, and explain why certain colors are different than others. Because I still feel general audiences, those who don't read some of the books or who don't read the lore, they don't understand why this person has this color lightsaber, or that person has this color lightsaber, and all of that. And yes, you're right. They do show it in the Clone Wars, but I guarantee you, a lot of the new people who are watching the live action show never watched the Clone Wars at all. You know, so I think it would be nice at least to kind of just throw in there a little bit where they're like, oh, I need to get a kyber crystal. I need to build my own lightsaber and all this kind of stuff like that. It's not necessary, but I'm just saying I think it would be kind of nice to help explain why there are differences like that. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I'm just curious what will happen with X-Men. I'm sure whoever they find to direct it will do well, but Jordan Peele, unfortunately, is not that person for the role. But you know who's the person for some role? It sounds like they're very, very high on Sean Levy to direct the next Avengers movie, right? But before we get into that, there was another bit of news in the Marvel universe, in the Marvel world that came out that I found very interesting. And it made a lot of headlines in the last couple of weeks, and that is about Captain America, right? So let me bring up the article right here. Captain America Brave New World reshoots underway with new pages, new mystery character. Giancarlo Esposito joins the cast for part 2 of a 22-day shoot as a villainous character. For me, this is insane news. The reason why this is so crazy is because the rumor was they test screened this movie and it was received very poorly. It seemed like this movie was a major shit show, and they're doing these reshoots now to kind of save it, which is bad. That is like, you don't want to hear news like that coming out, especially with a beloved character as Captain America. Regardless of how you feel about Captain America and the Winter Soldier show on Disney Plus, I thought it was okay. Ending felt kind of like weak, but for their next Captain America movie to not be received that well, that is a major blow, and they have to do whatever they can to save it, to the lengths of casting Giancarlo Esposito in some sort of villainous role. I mean, that is like insane to me. Star-Lord, everything Marvel and DC is apocalyptic, especially DC with their sky beams. Well, that's also comic books. I feel like that happens in comic books once a year. Even Iron Man said that up there, that is the end game. Clone Wars for life. I don't know the complete accurate lore for the colors, but I know the crystals call out to the Jedi, so possibly the personality and character traits. That's always what I believe too. I always thought that the color is a representation of the Jedi's personality, right? Or the Jedi's kind of feeling, right? I always thought that. That's why it made sense that if you lean more towards the dark side, you would, end up with a red lightsaber, and everyone else on the dark side who are Sith are all red sabers, right? So that made sense to me. And then of course on the light side, blue and green. Green I always associated with someone who's still new, and blue is more veteran. At least that's how I thought back in the day, right? And then later on, further things were explained, all this kind of stuff like that. So yeah, so I don't know. And Clone Wars, I'm interested in what you're feeling about this. This next episode that's supposed to be airing tonight on the Acolyte, they're supposed to be introducing something new within the Jedi lore that may or may not throw the entire fan base into a tizzy. So I'm very curious as to what is that going to be about. That's going to be really interesting. Really interesting. Ados, we see the mafia that exists between the police and traffickers. It shows details well. Even the director's family received death. Wow, really? That sounds like a crazy movie. So it's like very much in tune with what's really happening in Brazil. All right, I'm going to look it up. Bear with me a moment, all. I'm just going to look this up real quick. Elite. What's it called? Elite Squad. Is it the movie from 2007, Ados? Yep, it is. Elite Squad is a 2007 Brazilian crime film based on the novel Elite da Tropa by Luis Eduardo Soares. And it stars Wagner Moura. I'm just looking at the rest of the cast. I think I recognize some of these people. Okay. You have piqued my interest. So I am now very curious about this movie. So I think I will definitely add that to my list of movies to check out. Thank you. I always love recommendations. I really, really, really appreciate that. Star-Lord, back then we had little supervillain crime to worry about in comparison. Yeah, I mean, I think it's safe to say, and if you look at the history of Hollywood when it comes to movies, there will be kind of a representation and a result of what's currently happening in the world or in society. right? There was a time where we got so many movies about police officers and crimes and gangs and inner city street fighting and all that stuff, because at that time that was the big hot topic, right? um and post-apocalyptic stuff, end of days stuff, has a lot to do with a mix of where are we going as a country as far as like the politics is concerned, where are we going with all the wars happening around the world. The pandemic didn't help because it was the first time that we saw the world be extremely vulnerable as a whole, right? So, of course, Hollywood and media is going to kind of take on that and represent what's happening around us, right? So that's just usually how it is. If you look at the history of cinema, I feel like there's always going to be that kind of parallel that we see as far as trends are concerned. So with the Darksaber being made by the first Mandalorian, what do you think black is for? Oh, I don't know. I feel like that in itself is an anomaly. I don't think that that plays the same rules with the rest of the stuff. I feel like that is its own thing because it doesn't even look like your traditional lightsaber, right? So I feel like that in itself is its own lore. I don't think it's relatable to everything else. First Mandalorian Jedi is what I meant. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, so I when it comes to the Darksaber, I don't think that will play along the same rules as, because the Darksaber was not something that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know the full history of it, but it always remains the same. I don't feel someone can actually go out there and build their own, right? Now, we know that it got crushed and destroyed recently, right? So I don't know if they'll be able to rebuild it. But lightsabers is stuff that you build. That's part of your training, right? So I feel it definitely goes very differently from the rest of the lore in the canon. So especially after Bane tried to nuke the city in the last movie. Bane, I was born in the darkness. That was my Bane impersonation, guys. I don't think it was that good. What's up, Lil Saw? Nice to see you back. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you're having an amazing week so far. All right, let's read this news real quick about Captain America. Sam Wilson is back in action this week in Atlanta. Well, this was as of May 31st, where Captain America Brave New World began a round of additional photography with a new actor now in the cast, Giancarlo Esposito, who for a few weeks had hinted at his involvement in a Marvel Studios project, is officially on the call sheet in an undisclosed, but sources say, villainous role. The shoot will run 22 days, according to insiders. Among the added elements will be some new action sequences. Julius Ona remains the director. Okay, so there's no change in director, which is good. Brave New World had been operating under a hazy shroud ever since it wrapped principal photography in the spring of 2023. The movie, which stars Anthony Mackie as hero Sam Wilson, takes up the mantle of Captain America, barely escaped the direct impacts of the writers and actors' strikes. Marvel's other productions, Thunderbolts, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Blade, were forced to shut down or delay production, with the latter still not making it to film. Even though it managed to wrap principal photography before the strikes, Brave New World's post-production was hampered and delayed. As the actor strikes ended in November, Marvel moved Brave New World's release date from July 26 to February 14, 2025, which gave execs time to home in on what they needed to get out of the reshoots and take in feedback from test screenings. Matthew Orton, who previously worked on Marvel's Moon Knight, was hired to work on the new pages in December, writing over the winter. Despite reports of multiple reshoots on the movie, so far this is the only one. It does not appear to be as extensive as the reshoots that faced Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which lasted 6 weeks, nor the expensive and extensive reshoots endured by the Marvels. In fact, one insider says Brave New World would cost significantly less than the Marvels overall, which is good. They don't need this movie to cost a lot of money. That was the problem with the Marvels. It cost too much. The movie is a political action thriller, blah, 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 this and that, yada, yada, yada. Harrison Ford, Liv Tyler, Tim Blake Nelson, Danny Ramirez, and Rosa Salazar are also in the cast. And yes, this says that Marvel has a lot riding on this movie, blah, blah, blah. Plus, it's a significant role because it is the first time that we will have a black Captain America on the big screen after he debuted on the TV series there. So, this does not look good, in my opinion. Even though your reshoots can help save a movie, but it's problemsome because it kind of shows you where Marvel was at a certain time, that they have to save a movie like this from releasing the way it was. Reshooting, adding more stuff, getting Giancarlo Esposito. I bet you they got him in there because I don't think the appeal of whoever they had as the villainous character was working. I'm pretty sure there was less appeal about that. So they had to bring in somebody to kind of shake things up, you know. And Giancarlo Esposito is a great guy. And plus, he's already in the Disney family, right? Because he's already been in Mandalorian and all that. Dark Zero, what's up? Clone Wars, I have to go pack. It was great watching and having conversation. Hope you have a great... Thank you. Thank you. It was great talking with you too. Hope to catch you in the next stream. Just out of curiosity, what are you packing for? Let us all know where you're going so that we could live vicariously through you. But no, I appreciate the chat. Appreciate you chiming in. It was awesome to have you here. Let's just catching up on some other. Adam Watkins, what's going on, Adam? In Avengers 5, there should be an alternate version of the Avengers comprised by Captain America, the Bucky Barnes variant, Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, Wolverine, Quake, Black Knight, and Cersei. That sounds like an awesome idea. If we're still falling, if at that point we're still messing around with the multiverse and all that, then I think that would be pretty fun to see. It will be really awesome to see. And I like that idea of the cast that you have there. Prepare your autograph books for selfies, ladies. No gas stations. That's right. Don't bother Anthony Mackie at a gas station. Political action thriller, you heard it, folks. It's a movie genre. It used to, yeah, that's right. Well, you know, you got to expand on genres, right? And have it multi-layered. AKB Mobile in the house. What's going on, AKB? Yes, Madness needed reshoots. Big time. Have a big karate tournament in Atlanta. Wow, awesome. Well, if I don't see you until then, good luck on your tournament. I hope you kick ass, and always remember, sweep the leg.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Don't sweep the leg. That's not a cool thing to do, man. Don't do that. It's just one of my favorite lines in the Karate Kid movies, man. Plus, that whole ending is just so epic. You know, with the soundtrack and everything. Yeah, give him a body bag, Johnny. Yeah, but good luck, clones. If I see it, if you swing on by afterwards, I would love to hear what happened during the tournament. Let us know. Keep us up to date with how everything turned out. Dark Zero, as Master Ken always said, go for the groin. Wow, getting in deep.
You blew it! How much is back them, dickless?
All right. See, there you go. Clone Wars for Life is joining a tournament. He's going to be kicking ass and taking names and hopefully coming home with a trophy. Let's go. can always remember. There you go. There you go. So yeah, so to go back to AKB, yes, there was a lot of reshoots needed for whatchamacallit, for Doctor Strange, mainly because, and this is the point that still boggles the mind and baffles me, the writers and director never watched WandaVision at all. Think about that. And who was the main character in Doctor Strange? And when did all this take place? Yeah, think about that. So they had to make a lot of reshoots to help the continuity, to get things all in alignment. But even Elizabeth Olsen, when she gave an interview, she said she never understood why Sam Raimi and everyone else, they never even consulted the WandaVision production and all that. So, and I agree with Tommy. What's going on, Tommy? That WandaVision was a really good show. Probably one of the best Marvel shows that they put out overall. Along with Loki. I would say Loki. But yeah. Hence why they had to do the reshoots, at least to get somewhat closer to what the show was about, even though you could still kind of tell that there was still a little bit of a disconnect. And the reshoots was also because of the alternate universe where you had your Professor X and your John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic and blah, 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 blah. You know, that also was also part of the whole reshoots thing, because they weren't sure if they were going to be able to do something like that at one point. Ados, who do you think would best replace Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man? I don't think they will fully replace Iron Man. I think what they'll do is that we'll have an Iron Man-like character in the movies and in the universe going forward. It's supposed to be Ironheart. Now, we were introduced to Ironheart in Black Panther, in the last Black Panther movie. She has her own show. It's been filmed. It's been in the can. It just has been delayed because, as you know, Marvel TV has sucked recently. And I feel like they don't know how to properly market it right now. So they've been holding it back. Plus, the reception of the last Black Panther movie wasn't totally great. And one of the biggest criticisms was that everyone felt that she was kind of shoehorned into that movie, mainly just to promote her show. And that's not a good thing. You want to go forward with that way. Let's see. Tommy, Wanda should have been going through the multiverse to save her kids, not trying to steal them. Exactly. And that's why you could kind of see where the disconnect came in. I don't fight, but if you want to see the kind of stuff I do, one of the instructors has some videos from when he used to compete, and I do the same stuff as him. Okay, so it sounds more like a tournament of exercises, right? Like karate exercises, is that right? And look up Matt Emig nunchucks. There you go. All right. What's going on, G? Sorry, I'm going to call you JY. JY wants everyone to know that he was made in India. Congratulations. Thank you for chiming in. Yeah, Tommy, I totally agree. It was a very frustrating movie to watch at times, even though I'm a major Sam Raimi fan. Just seeing the disconnect between that movie and the show, it really bothered me. It really bothered me. It's everything from weapons and fighting. Awesome. Yeah, we'll check it out. Again, I'll repeat it. Matt Emig nunchucks. Look it up on YouTube. We'll check it out. Here, let me write it down. Yeah, believe it or not, I still write things down, guys. It's the best way for me to kind of keep notes. I'm old school that way. All right. Tell me, if Wanda tears through the multiverse causing incursions, that would make sense for the Illuminati to step in and Doctor Strange. 100% agree. Actually, 1,000% agree. That movie had so much potential, and I don't know. Just thinking about it makes me frustrated. Star-Lord is making some coffee right now. He needs to relax. All right. Enjoy some coffee making music. Star-Lord's making coffee. Needs to relax. Is it going to be caffeinated? Or are you getting decaf? Is it flavored? Do you use a Keurig? Or is it a French press? How do you make your coffee? How do you make your coffee? Let me know. Let us know.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely had too much. Where would you like to see the MCU take Spider-Man in the fourth film? I want to keep him grounded for a bit. He's been through a lot. You know, I feel like he's still recuperating from everything that's happened to him in the last movie. He's lost his girlfriend. He's lost his friends. His association with the Avengers is a little wonky because they don't know that he's Peter Parker anymore. So I would love to keep him grounded for a little bit. You know, so if we keep it just very surface level, you know, maybe, I don't know if you want to introduce a new villain, but I don't know. I think, honestly, I think it would be kind of awesome if they kind of made Kingpin like the big thing. Since they're already doing that with Daredevil, let's keep that as a continuity, you know, because it would be great to kind of see Spider-Man, you know, interact with the rest of the grounded kind of heroes for a change. You know, because it was nice to see him team up with Iron Man and Captain America and the Avengers going off into space and crazy shit like that. But I felt like that was way too quick, you know, for a young kid and for someone who's still trying to figure his shit out. Great experience. And I'm sure that's definitely going to help mature him and help him as a character and his personality. But now he had everything ripped away from him. So keep him grounded. Have him realize how it is to kind of start from scratch. No more Aunt May. She's gone. So literally he has no family anymore. He's all on his own. So it'll be nice in a way to kind of have him try to build a new family for himself, whether that's teaming up with other people on the ground level. Maybe, I don't know, and this is just crazy, do something like in the comic books where he's like constantly trying to join the Fantastic Four. I think that would be kind of hilarious. So, Oz Green in the house. What's going on? Womp womp. By the way, I always like to remind people, tonight, wait, not tonight. Sorry, you missed it. Last night and every Monday night, Oz Green teams up with the Double Toasted crew. He is part of their special show called What Up, Son? Every Monday night. Check it out if you want a good laugh. So check it out next week because you just missed it. You know what I'm saying. Tell me, it would be dope if they make Peter lose control a bit from all the mental weight he has carrying out, and Fisk using that as a way to convince the public vigilantes are no good and divide the public. See, that's a great storyline. And that sounds like a very specific comic book storyline. And that would be great. That would be kind of cool. Well, they kind of did that a little bit in the movies where they showed where J. Jonah exposes Spider-Man to be a menace, right? And all that. But now the public kind of forgot everything because they erased everyone's memories, right? But it'll be nice if they kind of still played on that fact where he is a menace, a nuisance. And Fisk tries to be like the savior of the city. Because if we remember now, I believe it was the end of Echo, Fisk may have that urge to run for mayor of New York. And that could be part of his whole campaign. Let's get rid of the masked vigilantes, right? So that could be like an interesting play on that whole premise and that whole storyline. So I feel like I'm in a UFO elevator. Oh, with that song before? Star Wars Hotel could have used it, you know, right before they... You mean that Star Cruiser thing? That they charge people $5,000 to hang out and not leave the premises? Yeah. That's a shame. I kind of feel bad for that because it looked like an interesting idea. It was just way too overpriced. Tell me that could lead to the public hating mutants in the future if they get bombarded with rumors that the human race will be replaced with mutants. That'll be interesting. And then that's another way you could kind of sneak in the X-Men in there, right? Create kind of like a Days of Future Past kind of scenario. That'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. I'll be all for that. That'll be kind of cool. All right, let's quickly jump into the main topic here and the big headline of this episode for today, and that is Avengers 5. And I was alluding to earlier when I was talking about Jordan Peele not looking to be directing anything for Marvel related, but Sean Levy. Everyone is excited at Marvel about Sean Levy. That means they are very high with the result of Deadpool and Wolverine. It sounds like they are very happy with that, and they have a feeling that they have a major hit on their hands there because of it. So, with Deadpool and Wolverine set to save summer, Sean Levy tops list to direct Marvel's next Avengers movie. Let me read this here real quick. Sean Levy is the top choice and is having early conversations to direct another Marvel Studios pick, the next Avengers movie. Deadline hears that Levy has been given the latest script by Michael Waldron, though sources add that he has not given an answer on whether he will take that job, and the studio is still planning to meet with other directors while they wait on a decision from him. I believe this is the second time I believe they asked Sean Levy to direct a Marvel film. I think the first time he declined it, if I remember correctly. We can't say for sure that Levy will take the job. He expects to be heavily involved as a director and executive producer for the final season of Netflix's signature series, Stranger Things, and there's also a Star Wars film in his future. Still, the prospect of Levy steering the next Avengers makes a hell of a lot of sense as Marvel boss Kevin Feige continues to sort out the next iteration of his superhero empire. Then this goes on to talk about the success of the Avengers film. And let's see, even with no director set and the script only recently coming in, Marvel has been working hard in recent months to pull this together so shooting can begin next year on one of Marvel's largest productions to date. Sources close to both projects say more than 60 MCU characters could reprise their roles, including everyone from Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Benedict Cumberbatch, to Tom Hiddleston, Simu Liu, and Karen Gillan. Unlike the first four films, in which there was a core group that consisted of Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, Hemsworth, and Ruffalo, many of the characters in the film would have equal footing, making it more of an ensemble feature instead of a handful of characters leading the team. Plot details are unknown, and following Jonathan Majors' exit from the MCU, not exit, but firing. Let's be clear about that. As Kang, following his reckless assault conviction in December, it is unknown who the central villain would be, or if the film could potentially include multiple antagonists. The Avengers project is another huge swing for Marvel. Given the projects, it will be impact going forward. But in Levy, they would have a director with an inviolable track record of hits, many on a tentpole level, which the MCU demands. Levy's credits, just as a reminder, he was responsible for Night at the Museum, Pink Panther, Big Fat Liar, Date Night, Real Steel. I loved Real Steel. That was a really nice movie. Free Guy, The Atom Project, and Steven Knight created series, all the light we cannot see. Plus, he's also responsible for Stranger Things and a lot of episodes he directed on Stranger Things. See, and as a producer as well. So, I think it makes a lot of sense to tap in Sean Levy to direct the next Avengers film. Why? Because I feel Deadpool and Wolverine is really going to help formulate what we're going to see in Marvel's future. It's Deadpool and Wolverine and whatever they come up with the next Fantastic Four movie. Those are the two movies that are going to help shape and formulate whatever they're going to do planning forward with the Marvel Universe. And I'm pretty sure, in a way, it's also going to be the entry level, the kind of window that will allow true mutants and X-Men to be introduced for the first time, or at least a possibility of them, right? And Sean Levy has been attached to a lot of, let's just say what it is, nerd, geeky level IP and franchises. He did a great job with the episodes that he directed on Stranger Things, also acting as producer for that show. Deadpool and Wolverine has always knocked it out of the park with every iteration. Free Guy was a fun-ass movie. I really enjoyed that movie big time. Real Steel, like I said, is very underrated. I think more people should watch that movie. That was a lot of fun. Rock'em Sock'em Robots in real life. I love it. So it makes sense. And it sounds like Sean is very good in working with a huge, diverse cast of people. When it comes to ensembles, I mean, look at everyone involved in Stranger Things. That's a lot of people there. Look at what's going to happen probably in this next Deadpool and Wolverine movie. By the way, the rumor running around right now, given that there was like an image leaked that Lady Deadpool is supposed to be in the movie and that might be Taylor Swift, I don't know if I would buy that. I think if that was the case, that would be on purpose as like a major troll to a lot of people. And I think I would probably laugh at that. I hope that's not the case, but it'll be really interesting to see what will turn out because of that. Ryan Reynolds should voice a robot in a Real Steel sequel. You're welcome, Canada. I wouldn't mind that at all. I think that would be great. But I don't think we'll get a Real Steel sequel at all. Or did we? I feel like I saw somewhere that there was like a on-demand video that was very similar to Real Steel. I think it was like one of those knockoff movies or whatever the case is. But yeah, I don't hate this news at all. But hearing that there's going to be over 60 characters in the Marvel Universe or from the Marvel Universe that are going to be showing up in this next Avengers movie is very interesting to me. And this was a conversation I had with my friends over the weekend on Saturday as to, first of all, why so many, right? And who are the characters going to be? And also, why? Why are they all coming together and who will they be fighting, right? Oh, Clone Wars is back. Just got finished packing. That was quick. Just be honest. You couldn't wait to come back and join in on the conversation, right? Right? Am I right? I don't know. I think it might be in the works later. Blind guess why I think so. That'll be interesting if they actually do another Real Steel movie. That's just overkill from the first reaction, the headlines for the character. Tommy, are you talking about Lady Deadpool? Clone Wars, you're absolutely right. Well, again, I appreciate it. 2 hours and 30 minutes of cameos. Make it 3. I guarantee you Avengers 5 is probably going to be over 3 hours. No, the 60 characters. Yeah. Well, I mean, every time something big like this happens, outlets and the internet goes nuts and they blow things all out of proportion. But it is fun to discuss and talk about and speculate, right? As long as we don't go crazy and go nuts about it, right? So let's do that. Let's speculate. Let's cast it. If we were here casting Avengers 5, who would we want to see? In, like, which characters would we want to see? And on top of that, which villain or villains should be in it, right? And now we have to think too, with what we know with the Marvel Universe right now, the shows, the movies, what's in the works, what could we be leading towards? We already know that Kang is out of the picture for now because of the whole Jonathan Majors thing. And I'm pretty sure they're going to explain that somehow, because if you remember at the end of Loki season 2, they were out there to kind of wipe out all the additional clones of this guy. So maybe they can say that the TVA is doing that all across the board and we won't see Kang anymore for some time. And maybe there'll be one Kang that is like totally in hiding and will eventually pop up somehow in the future, or whatever the case is, right? So let's start jotting down our ideas here. Let's just have fun with this. We don't have to go too crazy, too serious. Let's just have a lot of fun with this. All right. So I think at first, let's talk about villains, right? And I'll make sure that this is big so that everyone can see. Villains. All right. So it sounds like unanimously people want to see Doctor Doom, right? That makes sense to me. Doctor Doom will make sense because we got the Fantastic Four coming out. They're working on that movie now, right? And it would kind of make sense for Doctor Doom to kind of be a bad guy, but he can't be alone. It doesn't make sense for him just to be the... Why would 60 plus characters, and maybe not all good guys, right? But why would so many people combine to go after just this one guy, right? Tommy says Doom and Kang. Tommy also said previously the Defenders team. We'll get to the good guys in a little bit. AKB Wiccan. You may not be wrong. I'm just saying, you may not be wrong. Star-Lord Anthony Mackie might be in the sequel. I'm seeing some 2024 teasers. There really is no other choice. Paste Pot Pete. Bang. There you go. It's Doctor Doom and Paste Pot Pete. There it is. That's your movie. Goodbye, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. No. Ultron? Would we want to bring him back? I don't know. Maybe. I want to say... So Doom, at least from what I've seen and what I remember in the comic books, he loves collaborating. Right? Or he's open to it, at least. What if it was a conglomeration or a combination of Doom, Baron Zemo, right? And I don't know, who could be the third? That's why I'm very curious as to who Giancarlo Esposito is playing. Because that could potentially be something that could be in there. Clone Wars says the Hunter. The Hunter guy. Who's the Hunter guy? You mean Kraven? If it's Kraven, that's more of like a... I would say that's more of like a Spider-Man Peter Parker villain. Kraven the Hunter. You know, and I feel like he's a little bit too small fry for a group like this. Yeah. Or could these two be somehow working in cahoots with Galactus? You know, Galactus loves heralds. And what if in his own way sees Doom and Zemo as heralds of the planet Earth that he's trying to take over, to try to corral all the opposition and all that, right? Maybe. That's a possibility. Clone says, I could see Doom and Galactus together. So I was inevitable, but now I'm pissed off. Thanos returns, and this time it's personal. Red Skull. Red Skull, I think he's still trapped in whatchamacallit, in that planet where we saw him guard the creation of one of the stones, right? So it'll be well, let's just put, because anything's possible in this world, right? Red Skull, maybe. Because, yeah, comic book wise, Red Skull and Galactus, Red Skull and Doom and Zemo, actually, if you think about it, would be a perfect team up in the comic books. But Red Skull is, thank you, Oz, in Vormir, right? He's stuck in Vormir. That's kind of his punishment, I guess. But that's an interesting thought, though, if we could have that in there. Kingpin is a little bit too ground level. I don't think he's going to be part of this major group here, right? That sounds more of just a Spider-Man, Daredevil kind of one-off, But these are potentials, right? But I really do strongly feel like Doom, Zemo, Galactus, and maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. Maybe they will put Kang in there. They'll get someone else to play Kang. And, since Kang can be various people, maybe they could explain away that Kang changed how he looked, take on a new form. I don't know. It's very possible, right? So at the very least, you have some potential as far as villains are concerned, right? But my money is on Doom, Zemo, Galactus, I think. Starlord says Adam Warlock. So I do think Oz likes Ultron. Okay, so let's add Ultron in there too. And Tommy, I believe, said Ultron. Clone Wars said Ultron before. So let's put him there as a potential there. Because it would be kind of interesting if they could kind of surprise us by bringing Ultron back, and maybe I could see Doctor Doom kind of bringing Ultron back with the help from Baron Zemo, all because they're being instructed by Galactus to do something to prepare Earth for his coming. Blah, blah, blah. I can see all of these possibilities happening there. It has to be big, right? You have to warrant why all of these people are going to come together and go against these people, right? So let's keep that as the villains there. And if any of you guys come up with something different, let me know. But let's think of the good guys. I like Star-Lord's Adam Warlock because, he is now officially part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? He's teamed up with Rocket and the rest of the crew there. So I do think we could see, if this is going to be a mega battle that includes space and all that stuff, you're going to need the Guardians of the Galaxy to come up, right? So you have I would put Adam Warlock, Rocket, Groot, who's Sean Gunn's character? Let's put Sean Gunn, because I don't know the character that he plays. I forgot his name. And the little girl from GOG. Okay. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people already there, right? All right. So who else? Let's see, who are the big Avengers people who are still around? So you got Thor. Oh no. You got Thor, Hulk, I guess we should include Hulk's son, who we've never heard from again. Hulk's son. You have, like, who else is from their OG Avengers team? Ant-Man. It's doubtful Wasp will return because the actress she said she's retired from acting. I don't know if that's true. But you have Cassie, right? Cassie Lang. Bucky, good one. All right. Clones, what if the reason Red Skull got off the planet was because he made a deal with Galactus and he teamed up with the villains on Earth to do Galactus's will? Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea. I like that. Loki, I would add Loki, but I doubt Loki will be part of this because Loki is too busy with the time tree. He's too busy with all of this stuff in there. But I do think Loki may potentially be in the movie, but not do anything, right? So we'll put here. I'll put Loki. So I'll keep that kind of on the list, but not as like the good guy team, because I think Loki will be there, but he probably won't do anything. Oh, you got Captain Marvel, right? She's probably going to show up again. You have, he can still create illusions. He could. Let's see. You have, Shuri, right? Miss Marvel. If we start to include kind of the quote unquote young Avengers, so that means we'll have Kate Bishop, because we know that she's trying to gather up a team already, right? Cassie Lang will be a part of that team too. So you have Cassie Lang, Miss Marvel, Kate Bishop as part of the new Young Avengers. This has already been spoiled for me, so I apologize in advance if this is a spoiler to all of you guys. But that Ramirez guy from Winter Soldier, Captain America, I think he's going to be the new Falcon. So we have, of course, new Captain America, Falcon, right? Okay. And I think that new Falcon has potential to be part of the new Young Avengers as well. Right? Oh, we have Doctor Strange. He's still around. Right? Then, yeah, in the comics, that's what happens anyway. Old new Falcon. Okay, so there you go. So they're following kind of like, at least somewhat, there's some consistency there, right? M'Baku, right? He's still on Wakanda. Okoye. I don't know if that's how you spell her name, but I apologize in advance if that's wrong. Wong, of course, he's a part of that. Don't forget, we also have, who is that? Shang-Chi. Good old Simu Liu. All right. Oh, well, you brought up the thing. Fantastic Four. They're going to be in the mix, I think, right? So you have Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Thing, and Human Torch. Okay. So you got to include those guys, right? Now, I don't think Deadpool will be part of this group. Something tells me Deadpool somehow is going to remain in some alternate universe, I think. He'll come in and out, but I don't think he'll be part of this movie. If he is, that would be a major surprise. So I'm going to put here as maybe we'll see Deadpool. It's Sean Levy too, so you might think like Sean Levy would probably have Ryan Reynolds show up in this movie, right? Since they're such good friends. Clones is now naming the X-Men. So there's a potential, I could see that we could have X-Men in there. So I think separately, another separate list as possibles, because I'll only say this because there's no plan, or at least no idea of what X-Men movie we're going to get and who's cast to be X-Men or in the X-Men movie, that it's kind of hard to speculate if these people will be in this movie or not, right? Also, you have to think about it's Avengers, so they may want to keep Avengers and X-Men separate. I don't know, but I'm just going to put X-Men, right? So you have Professor X, Rogue. Those are probably the big names. Cyclops, Storm, Wolverine, of course. They can't have an X-Men without Wolverine. So you know you're going to have to shove Wolverine down there. Yeah, Deadpool will be a definite. Seeing the new movie does well, you'll see his full all over. Yeah, I could see Deadpool coming, kind of just like popping in and out, doing his one-lines and all that, you know, being funny. Clone Wars says Santa Claus. Why not? That'll be at the end of the movie. Kind of like how in the first Avengers, they all went for shawarma. In the end of this movie, Santa Claus is going to show up because it's going to take place during Christmas. And he's going to give everyone gifts and all that. So, Star-Lord, the good guys are so overshadowing the bad guys. Well, it's just because there's so many, right? AKB saying intro the X-Men so we can start the rivalry, which will lead to Avengers versus X-Men. Oh, that's interesting. That's I hope that if that is something they're thinking about, introduce the X-Men before this, because I wouldn't want this movie to be the intro to X-Men. They deserve their own separate thing, right? But yeah, these are possibilities I could see here for the X-Men team, right? So, who else do we got? Star-Lord mentioned it earlier, Moon Knight. I could see that. There has to be somewhat of a ground level representation in a way. Spider-Man, right? Maybe Daredevil, even if it's just a cameo and not really part of the major thing. Okay, Star-Lord. Kevin Bacon. Because technically he is part of the MCU, right? So we'll put Kevin Bacon in there. Maybe he'll pop in a cameo. Oh, let's not forget who's this? The new Black Widow, right? She's probably gonna be in there. Oh, we got oh, this is gonna be an interesting thing. Will we see Monica Rambeau come back? Because apparently she's stuck in an alternate universe. So will she come back? I don't know. That's a big question. Should I even include her here? Clone Wars says Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris should just come out of nowhere and destroy everyone with one giant karate chop. You'll see him on top of an airplane flying right into Galactus's mouth. And he just does like one giant round kick and he knocks Galactus way off into another universe. That would be amazing. Roundhouses for everybody. All right. Oh, She-Hulk. You know, she's going to probably pop up, right? And do some twerking. She'll pop up just to do twerking. So we got that going on. Who else would fit this list? yeah. Galactus, like, look at this insignificant. Ah! Roundhouse to the face. That's it. As he gets like knocked into an alternate universe. if Galactus is involved, you would have to think Silver Surfer may be in there, right? I could see Silver Surfer being a part of this if that's the case. What else? What else do we got here? How many do we have so far? So let's see. Not including the villains, right? And then one of the reasons why I thought this would be fun is because when I had the same conversation with my friends on Saturday, and those include AKB, Osgreen, we were all together having the same conversation. It's kind of hard to believe that there are over 60 characters currently active in the MCU right now. One of our other friends couldn't believe it. Didn't think like, oh, there's no way there are 60 people there are 60 characters in the MCU. And the minute we started listing them out, we started to realize, oh shit, yeah, there really are. So not including the villains, we have 1, 2, and I'm not going to include the X-Men just yet. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. That is all including Kevin Bacon. So, who else do we have left that we didn't mention yet? Oh, Hawkeye. I mentioned Kate Bishop. We didn't mention Hawkeye yet. Hawkeye is going to be in it for sure. He's still part of the OG crew. Oh, I guess you could say War Machine. I think by now, or by this time, he would be recovered after being captured, right? You have Nick Fury. You also have Ironheart, right? AKB Mobile, gotta bring home the bacon.
Wow.
How much is back them, dickless?
I would like a one-on-one rematch with Thanos. You personally want? This time he has 2 gauntlets. Oh, Star-Lord is just going nuts right now with this idea. Thanos showing up with 2 gauntlets. That's crazy. Let's see. Who else? There's a lot of other characters left that I know we're forgetting. I should have a list of all Mr. Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight I think I have in here. Moon Knight. I think I thought I wrote down Moon Knight, didn't I? Where is... Yeah, here we go. Moon Knight. Yeah, Moon Knight's part of this list. Oh, he's cut off. That's why you probably don't see it. Sorry. Let me fix that. Moon Knight. There you go. Star-Lord got to switch to decaf. TVA has spare Infinity Stones. Actually, he's got a point. They kind of do. They kind of do. Well, okay. Will the TVA be involved? If the TVA is going to be involved, then you have to include, is it Mobius? Right? That's Owen Wilson. I'll just write Owen Wilson. Right? He may be involved, right? So if we include a TVA, he may be involved. Short Round might be involved. The guard, I forgot her name. She might be involved, right? If the TVA is involved, that's a possibility. Who else? Will Agatha Harkness be involved? No, I don't think so. I don't see her. Well, it all depends on what happens with her show that's coming out. We don't know exactly what's happening with that series. So we don't know what the extent of her involvement may be in future iterations here. Let's see. Who else is hanging out? Will we see any of the Eternals show up? we were introduced to them and then kind of forgot all about them. There's still a giant elemental hanging out in the middle of the ocean somewhere, and no one's made any mention of it. So I'm going to put down the elementals. I believe there are 5 of them, right? There's 5 elementals. Owen Wilson has a jet ski Iron Man made for him. The jet ski turns into a suit. And that's what he's going to use to fly off into space with. Let's see. Who else do we got here? Oh, will Agent Carter show up? The daughter of Peggy? She might show up. Oh, will Emilia Clarke's character show up since she is the most powerful being in the Marvel Universe right now? Thanks, Secret Invasion. She could show up, right? What? I don't even know what her character's name is. Emilia Clarke. There, I'll just put her name in there. I mean, they got to do something with that character, right? I mean, you can't just have a show that introduces her as like the ultimate powerful character in the Marvel Universe and then never bring her up again, right? There's just no way. So she has to be a part of it somehow. What a disaster that was. Why did they do that? Oh my God, they were smoking something big when they thought of that idea. And whatever they were smoking, I kind of want some of it. Mobius. Yeah, that's Owen Wilson's character's name, Mobius. I thought it was Mobius. But I kind of like just leaving Owen Wilson there. Just like I'm leaving Emilia Clarke. Oh, could we get... Now, I don't know what's happening in the Thunderbolts. Right? But can we get that bad Captain America dude? Bad. CA. I'll just do that. Right? The bad Captain America. Could he possibly show up for this? Maybe. Who else, guys? Who am I missing? Who's missing from this list that deserves to be on this list? Yes, I love the bad Captain America. Yeah, his character was interesting, for sure. I know he's going to show up in the Thunderbolts, I believe, but I don't know what that movie, what will happen in that movie could dictate what's going to happen in the future. I'm also going to pull up, hold on. I have that image I use for the thumbnail that shows a lot of potential. So I'm going to have that image open. And I'm going to go off of this too to see who could be included. Make him an adventure, for God's sake. I think that's eventually going to lead to... Now, I remember his character, which is kind of U.S. Agent. Wasn't U.S. Agent in the comic books part of Excalibur? I don't know if they'll ever do a team like that, but it'll be kind of interesting if they created like an Excalibur team. Very much like I do feel like they're going to do a West Coast Avengers, which reminds me, we still have, what's his face? Vision, right? Vision is still around. So it's the white version, but we're probably still going to get him in there. Howard the Duck. Why not? Let's add him in there. Because that'll be hilarious. Have him do like a quick cameo, right? Oh, Star-Lord. Star-Lord is still around. Not only Star-Lord 7 here in the chat, but the real Star-Lord in the MCU, he's still around. So it's very possible he could be in this movie too. I mentioned the Elementals, M'Baku. Let's see. Oh, could we get Rescue? That's Gwyneth Paltrow's Iron Man. Could she show up in this? Maybe. That's another potential in there. Yep. I have Hawkeye and Kate Bishop here. So I have them included. Let's see. Oh, you also have, who's that? Valkyrie. How do you spell Valkyrie? I'm not good at spelling, guys. I apologize. Valkyrie. Valkyrie, like Kyrie Irving. So yeah, Valkyrie. More than likely, she could show up in this. Let's see, running through this list here. Oh, America Chavez? Are we going to see her come back? I mean, the actress is popping up all over the place now. Didn't she just win Dancing with the Stars or something like that? So, and she's been showing up in several movies here and there. So it'll be interesting if we could see her come back. Yep, I have Howard the Duck right there. Howard the Duck definitely will come back. Oh, Namor, right? We have Namor. He's around still, so we could have Namor here. Could we maybe get another Black Panther's son? Since he was introduced in the last movie. Again, depending on how far in the future this is, maybe that's a potential there. Let's see. I'm looking at this list here. I said Doctor Strange. I said Captain Marvel. Or I said Wong is in there. I don't think we'll see Gamora. I think Gamora's storyline is completed for now. I also feel, well, we could potentially see Nebula. Nebula might have a potential to be in this. So that's another one that could show up in this. Let's see. I already have M'Baku, Okoye. I'm sure we'll see like a sprinkling of other of the Dorma Mirage, however you pronounce that. I think I just had a heart attack. And also depending on how Thunderbolts, what happens in Thunderbolts, I don't know if we'll see the David Harbour character, if he's still going to be around or not. Clea, she was kind of hinted at and introduced at the end of Doctor Strange, right? Could she potentially show up here? Maybe. Star-Lord, his special ability, he has a naked photo of his wife that makes enemies run. Good old Howard the Duck. Who else are we missing? All right, let's count the list so far. So again, not including villains. Potential who have Loki, Deadpool. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55. I also didn't include all the elementals, so you have roughly like around 58, 59, and we're basically around 60. And of course, we could also speculate that maybe Punisher may be in there. I don't know why. Maybe just like another cameo, right? Yeah, you could include like what Tommy was saying before, the Defenders, maybe just making a cameo. So you have Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist. Because I think he is going to return in the Daredevil Born Again series. Right? Well, that's why Howard the Duck should be in this movie. Because his expertise is indeed Quack Fu. So, that's definitely true. So you got the rest of the Defenders team in there. I would even say Wiccan. And who's the other kid? It's Wiccan and who are the sons of Wanda? Because they exist. It's very possible they may show up. Maybe they'll come back and show up again in Agatha, in the Agatha show. You know? And then, of course, I'm not including like the supporting characters for a lot of these people. So you also have Thor's daughter might make an appearance. You have Aquafina's character from Shang-Chi, right? You have Kat Dennings' character from Thor. Oh, you have Lady Thor. You know, she may come back from Valhalla with Idris Elba. Hemdale? Is it Hemdall? I don't know how to spell his name. AKB 5 hours of cameos. That's right. This movie's going to be epic. Who else? I'm just looking at this list here of potential characters. Oh, whatchamacallit? He was hinted at. Hercules. At the end of the last Thor movie, he was hinted at. So maybe we could see Hercules. Wonder Man. I know they're working on a show for him. I could see him pop up. Harry Styles. He showed up at the end of Elementals, right? Is Hercules a villain? At one point, he was an Avenger, wasn't he? In the comic books? Maybe he'll start off as a villain and then eventually become good. Oh, Korg. Because Korg just seems to like hang out with Thor all the time now. All right. Hercules, I'll put here. Since he may be a bad guy. But I always thought he ended up teaming up and joining the Avengers at one point in the comic books. I could be wrong. You have to have Korg in there. Zeus will unleash him. I agree. Let's see. I don't think we'll see Echo in this movie. Let's see. I also don't think we will see Mantis or Dave Bautista, Drax, because I think Drax's storyline is done. And Mantis' storyline seems to be done too, I think. But there is a possibility that we might see a Mantis show up. But highly unlikely, I think, in my opinion. Because I feel like their storylines have been completed. Also, I don't think we're going to get to see any of the Werewolf by Night guys. You know, even though I love that, that was a great movie that they did. I don't think they'll show up in this movie. Hulk and not Smart Hulk. I mean the Hulk Smash Hulk. I'll be curious to see if we'll ever get that Hulk again. Well, if they ever introduce the Red Hulk, that would take over, right? That would be like the new Smash Hulk. Because I think Smart Hulk is here to stay. And whoever his dopey looking son is. Like, I think that guy is here to stay too. I guess. If we ever get to see him again. What else we got? I don't know. I think that's it. I'll put up here in potentials Monica Rambeau. Right? Because she may find her way back. She may find her way back from the alternate reality. And then maybe she'll bring in Beast with her, who could be part of the X-Men. So I'm going to add Beast with the X-Men too. Right? And maybe Pulsar. Is it Pulsar? Abomination has... that's a potential for him to be in this too. Why not? Let's put him in here. Even if it's a cameo. Abomination. This movie is going to be nuts. This movie will make no sense. And I love it. Oh, I forgot to add the dog. What's the dog's name? Cosmos? Cosmo? Cosmo, yeah. We'll add Cosmo in there. This movie is going to be ridiculous. She-Hulk dies and makes Hulk angry and he loses Smart Hulk. Will he really care if She-Hulk died? Maybe that's more of a question is, would we really care if She-Hulk died? because that character, again, potential, but not well executed. Objection sustained. Oh, I guess we could also add in, since he's going to be introduced in the new Captain America movie, General Ross, Harrison Ford, right? So Ross is going to be here. Martin Freeman's character, I forget his name, right? I could see them making appearances, albeit cameos, in this movie. But we have we definitely, again, if you include the villains listed here and you include the X-Men, I think we have 70 plus characters already listed in this movie. Let's do the overall count. And again, these are just potentials when it comes to villains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87. And I didn't include all the elementals individually. So we have over 90 characters here on our roster in our cast of Avengers 5. Would you buy a ticket for this today? I would. Star-Lord, I can see all of these characters in the next Avengers franchise. This could be everything that we have looked forward to, or we could be looking forward to in the next phase of the Marvel MCU. And there's characters we're missing from this list. Characters that are probably going to be introduced to us for the first time with the new shows. We don't know who's going to be introduced to us in Deadpool and Wolverine. There's a lot of potential here, all abound. But if everything remains true, and the rumors are true, and the script is really going to be this nuts, that's how you could fill it up. That's the cast you could fill it up as. It's going to be an interesting one. And I know we like to make fun of it now. We joke about it. We say this is going to be just a movie filled with cameos and all that stuff like that, which is very true. But if done right, if they could somehow do it correctly and capture that same spirit that they honed in on in the last Avengers movie, it could be pretty epic. I don't know. But this is a movie, and the one thing that kind of scares me is that they're thinking of making a movie like this very soon. And I don't like that. I think this needs to marinate for a bit. Give us a reason to why we want to see this. Unless what they're planning to do is they're going to make an Avengers movie where they actually introduce for the first time a giant villainous character or a group of characters. that they're in a way they're going to force create the same effects that we got from Infinity War, where the movie ends with like a doom scenario, like something that's dire. And then the next several movies will lead up until this big movement towards the Avengers 6, where now it's time to wipe out the bad guys. You know, shake things up a little bit, which is also a possibility there. But you definitely need, if you're going to have so many people in the movie, instead of just making it a movie where you just feel like you're just seeing cameos pop up here and there, you gotta build up on the characters and have people care about them, and have them care as to why we want to see them in a movie like this. Like Star-Lord's saying right now, flush out the characters, give it more focus. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. It'll be very interesting to find out what's going to happen when that time comes. But I wouldn't want an Avengers 5 movie to come out like in 2 years. That's way too soon, I think. Way too soon. Clone Wars, if Chuck Norris was in, everyone would care. Hell, right. Hell, you're damn right. If Chuck Norris was in it, that's it. That's the end game right there. No need for new main characters, hero or villain. Well, I do feel like we do need new villains. We need a major bad guy that will cause concern for the whole universe. Someone big. Right now we don't have that. You know, even Kang didn't feel like he was going to be like this big worrisome guy, because it wasn't really properly fleshed out. Bring Thanos back for a sparring partner. Now, what would be interesting, since we're doing multi-universes and all that, what if we brought back Thanos, but he's a good guy? Could you imagine that? Like in an alternate reality, he's actually a good guy. Didn't that happen at one time in the comic books, where there was like a small comic book run about Thanos and how he was like this sad guy? You know, he felt bad for everything he's done, thinking back on his life. Now he forced himself to like live on a rock for a while by himself. You know, what if there's like a redemption arc for Thanos? And I'm not a huge fan of like redemption arcs for bad guys. If you're gonna be bad, remain bad. Stay bad. That's it. But if you wanted to shake things up, you know, bring in an alternate version of Thanos. But he's good. Thanos shouldn't be good at first. Maybe later on he is. Well, if you look at his story arc, yeah, he was bad to all of us, but to himself he wasn't. Right? He just thought that this was the best way to go about it and bring balance to the universe. And then he was at peace with what happened. No remorse, no regret. Just living up, you know, cabin in the middle of nowhere with his crops, cooking. Clone Wars, bro was listening a bit too much to Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. That's right. Thanos just sitting there all lonesome on an asteroid. Woe is me. What did I do? Death doesn't love me. What is balance without unbalance? Starler dropping some philosophical knowledge on us right now. Also, I failed to explain this earlier, but if you see me talking to people that you don't see in the chat, it's because I have two versions of this stream running, one in regular horizontal format and one in vertical format. So I know sometimes it can be confusing that I'm talking to certain people in the same stream. They're all there. I'm not just talking to myself and creating people out of nowhere. I forget to explain that sometimes. One cannot exist without the other. What is balance without unbalance? I feel like I'm reading fortune cookies. Deadpool took death from Thanos, and now he's Juice WRLD. All right, Clone Wars, since I know you're here, are you liking the Acolyte so far? Have you had a chance to see it yet? Starlord, I can be philosophical. Yes, you can. Absolutely. By the way, don't think I left you off the hook. How's that Total Recall game going? Clone Wars, yeah, it's pretty good. Nice. Not a big fan of color choices for some of the robes and lightsabers, but it's a good plot. Okay. Have you read any of the High Republic stuff that came out? Because it does feel like it's borrowing a lot from that. I haven't read any of the High Republic stuff, so I'm just wondering. I'm just curious. Solar says 2 weeks. 2 weeks. He's on the clock. Clone Wars, no, I haven't been able to yet. Okay. But yeah, I'm very curious as to what's going to happen in tonight's episode. If the rumors are true that something is going to be dropped on us that may be controversial. So again, I'll be streaming live tomorrow around 12 noon Eastern time with my Acolyte discussion, recap, and review. So if you want to tune in for that conversation. Last week was fun. I had a lot of Star Wars fans show up out of nowhere, talk, about the episode and Star Wars in general. So it's a lot of fun. That's just your excuse every time you ask. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. You said that 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. Clone Wars, I'll definitely join it. Yeah, it'll be great. And if not, we can always chat about it some other time. Well, I'm going to wrap things up in about 5 minutes. So if there's anything else you'd like to talk about, by all means, have at it. Depends on how good your internet is. Probably be on the road to Atlanta. No worries, man. And again, good luck on that if I don't see you tomorrow. When is the first day of your tournament? Have you played Red Dead 2? It's amazing how many people ask me about Red Dead 2. It's I find it extremely fascinating. Like, I feel like in every stream, someone new comes in and asks me if I played that game. I have not. It's on my list of games I want to play. Hopefully I can play it this year. Last year, I finally just finished Red Dead, the first one. And I really liked it. I liked the story. I liked the character. Or the characters, I should say, that we were introduced to. And I really love the gameplay. So I'm looking forward to experiencing Red Dead 2 for the first time when I play it. But yeah, that's where I am at. Seminars will be Thursday, First competition day will be Friday, then Saturday. All right. We'll be rooting for you. 1000%. You should have added Sylvester Stallone from GOG. Oh, that's a good one. You're right. He is part of the Guardians of the Galaxy crew, right? Oh, or the universe. Sylvester Stallone and Michelle Yeoh, right? Isn't she also part of that universe too? Wait a minute. But Michelle Yeoh is also in Shang-Chi, isn't she? Oh, man. It's so confusing. I got 20 plus people in all 5 divisions. Wow. Holy cow. That sounds insane. Well, make sure, I don't know how you prepare or how you train or, you know, what you do to get yourself pumped up and in the mood. But always remember, you're the best around. Nothing's ever gonna take you down. You're the best around. Always remember that. Sorry, yes, but the 2 characters can still be played by the same actor if it's a little obscure. Well, that's true. That's true. It's not like we haven't seen the same person play different characters in a movie before, right? So that wouldn't be too far-fetched. Clone Wars usually listens to Eminem. That's a nice way to pump yourself up. Give me 1 second, guys. Just checking my notifications real quick. Make sure there's nothing. Make sure the world's not blowing up while I'm here streaming, because that would suck. All right, looks like everything's in order. Everything's in order, y'all. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it. It is now 3:51 p.m. here on the East Coast. I'm going to do some stuff for the rest of the day. Just look at Terrence Howard. Oh, poor Terrence Howard. It'll be funny if they actually brought him back. That'll be hilarious. Clone Wars, hope I could see you tomorrow too. And if not, good luck. Safe travels. Okay? I'm sure I'll catch you next time. But it's been a pleasure, guys. Always have a lot of fun chatting with you guys, talking about this stuff, hanging out. And like I said, I'll be back again tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern time, to talk about The Acolyte. Let's see what happens with this latest episode. So again, major shout outs as always to Starlord7, AKB, Oz Green. Who else do we got here? Of course, Clone Wars for Life. Thank you again. Going back here, Tomi. I don't know if Tomi's still around, but major shout out to them for joining in on the conversation. Really appreciate it. Dark Zero, Daz, Ados, Lil Sa, who chimed in briefly earlier. Bueno. I don't know if I'm missing anyone. Ken Davis from earlier, again, doing his quick drive-by comment. Thank you all. As a quick reminder, don't forget, hit that like button on the stream. Would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm out of here. Stay cool, stay classy, stay safe. Catch you tomorrow, hopefully. But bye-bye, everybody. Peace out. I love Don Cheadle, too. But it would be funny if he did return, wouldn't it? All right, y'all. Peace out. Catch you next time.